Hey there, welcome back friends. In this video we will talk about couple of special methods which are available and a couple of more things as well, and we will wrap up this section. Alright, so to start with, first of all, let us create a very simple class, and the name of the class would be like road, right? And this road class will have a name and some other properties, for example. So let us create couple of variables as name and maybe length. Alright, so these are good enough, and in here let us initialize these values under constructor. And how we will do it, let me show you. It would be like define underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and in here we will take couple of options in here like self comma name comma length. Good enough. Colon, and in here we will do this. We will be initializing these two values, so it would be like self.name, which is nothing but the local variable, equals name, and we will do the same as self.length equals length. Cool enough. And we will define a yet another method which will display the information like name and length, right? So it would be like display underscore info, and in here we will be printing couple of values, and it would be like f double quotes name equals name colon name and length colon length. Good enough. Let me run this. Let us check. This is giving me couple of errors because we have missed the pair of parentheses and also what we say the self word. And now everything looks good, and indeed if I run this there would be errors. Now the reason why we are getting this errors because of these two variables which are name and length. Now whenever we create class object attributes, we have to initialize them. Remember this. Now in here when we make use of these two variables, indeed Python doesn't know what exactly these two means. It even doesn't know whether these are like some keyword or a variable. Now as soon as we make use of a assignment, then only Python will identify these two statement as a variable. So this statement will for example make Python realize that this name is a variable. Now whenever there is this kind of scenario where we have to initialize a variable and we don't wish to give any value, in these kind of scenario none is ideal. Now definitely null is best suited in here, and this is a yet another keyword which is very important in Python. Now finally if I run this, there is no error, right? So for example, we create a variable of type road1. Now I don't know some roads. Let me give the name as Koradi. This is a road in Nagpur where I stay. So in here it would be like Koradi equals road. Alright, and we have to give parameters in here, right? So in here if I quickly run this, there would be error. It will ask us for two parameters. So in here we need to give parameters, and these parameters would be name and length. So name would be for example Koradi, and the length would be for example 25, maybe 25 kilometers, and I run this and we get the output. Output is nothing, at least we don't get the error. And now for example I try to print Koradi, what we get? we get this. Now this is strange in here. For example, we create a tuple maybe. So it would be like my tuple equals 1, 2, 3. And let me run this and let me print this variable. What we get? We get a output, a proper output. But when we are simply like printing or calling in this variable, we get this. Let me also use the print method in here in order to make things even cleaner. So we will get this output. Why? Because there is no implementation of printing mechanism, right? So that is one thing. Apart from that, for example, we try to check the length of a tuple. We can do it. Let me show you. Right, so the length is 3, but can we check length of the road Koradi? Where it is? Here it is. Let me show you. And there would be an error, and the error is that the object of type road has no length function. Alright, so there are like couple of things which we don't have in our what we say class. So one by one, let us implement it. So first of all, let us implement the mechanism of printing. And in order to print, or in order to implement this print method in our own class, there is a special method by the name of str. Right, and we need to define this. And definitely we need to make use of a pair of parentheses and also pass on self colon. And in here, for example, we display the same information. Let me display the same information. And indeed, as we have the string function, we need not to worry about this display info method again, because we have a default mechanism now, right? Let me run this, let me run this, let me run this, and there is some kind of error because the name is not defined in here, which is strange. Name is okay. This is the error. We need to make use of self.name and self.length. All right, here we go. And now in here, check this out. This will say that str is returning non-string value, and this is interesting. Whenever we implement the str method, it should return a string. We cannot print anything out of it, because whenever we for example try to print, the print method will receive a string, right? It won't print anything inside the print method. As a result, it would be like this. Here we go. All right, and now let me run this and we get output. Amazing. So this is how we can implement the print method. All right, and take a note of this self.name and self.length. That is something I usually goof up. I usually forget these parameters because my background is kind of Java, and I also deal with Python, so some inconsistency is there because I hop into Python world and Java world simultaneously. All right, so moving forward in here, first thing is accomplished. We have the print method body implementation. We can check the information in the object, but indeed in here, if we implement, for example, we try to check the length is not available. So in here, for example, let us try to implement the length function. So it is again underscore len underscore. Again, we need to give self, and again there are some kind of a special requirement. For example, I print in here, print self.length. This won't work, in fact. Let me run these, and for example, I run the length.koradi string. It will say none type object cannot be interpreted as integer. So the integer type is important, and in here we have to return have to return integer value, which is self.length, for example, in here. All right, let me run these, and now we get a output. Perfect. And finally, there is something known as delete, and what delete does is it will delete this particular object from the memory. So for example, I delete this object, then it will simply delete it. And now, for example, I call in this length method, it will say that core ID is not defined, right? So let me create this what we say object once again. Here we go. And now let me call in the length method. Again, we will get the output. But for example, we wish to give a what we say message when the deletion is performed, then again that is possible. So it is like del method. Here we go. And we will in here we can like return any string. So it would be like return deletion successful. Cool enough. Let me run these fields quickly. Here we go. And now finally let me delete. I guess, have I deleted it already? Let me check. I guess I have deleted it by mistake once again. All right, let me run this. All right, and now in here let me create and delete it once again in order to show you. So in here, for example, let me create a object first and let me delete it. Now friends, you will see that there is no output. The reason being, what is a delete operation? Understand this. So whenever there are these special methods, there are a special requirement. For example, we are implementing a delete operation. Now, as delete operation is a destructive operation where we are deleting an object, we may want to delete, for example, a record from the database. We may want to log something, right? So those kind of actions can be performed under this method delete, and there is no special requirement like string or length. We need not to return anything. Indeed, this delete will not return anything. It will not display anything. It will return none. So for example, we try to print this operation of deletion, and definitely first of all we will create an object, and then we will call in the this operation of deletion. Let me run this, and it will say what? It will say syntax error. Why? Because this particular method will return nothing. As a result, we can perform anything in here, and indeed if we wish to print this message, then definitely we can make use of the print method directly inside this del method. So now let me run this, and now let me delete the object of core ID type. Let me run this, and here is the output. All right, now likewise these three methods, str, length and delete, there are a couple of more methods, more special methods, so definitely you can check those out. But out of these methods, one of the most important method is str, delete and definitely length. So these most important methods are covered in here, but if you wish to explore more, you are free to experiment, and you are free to Google and check the other methods as well. The other methods are indeed very simple to understand, easy to understand, and usually you will not use them. Usually these are the methods which are most widely used, and one of the most widely used method is definitely str. Alright, so having said this, this is yet another lecture on object-oriented programming where we were discussing about classes, objects and these kind of things, and from our next section we will explore more and we will check more things under Python. Alright, so having said this, I guess you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.